There you go.
Hi.
Hi, this is Benny,
And I'm Valerie.
and this is the Wholehearted Living Podcast. Dun, 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 dun. So we're very glad that you guys are with us. This is the podcast where...
One of us brings a subject and the other one has no idea what we're going to talk about.
That's right. Today we cheated again because we kind of talked about what we were going to talk about, but not in detail. And then, and she doesn't have any idea what I'm going to say, but we ended up talking about it. And for the last 2 weeks, if you've been joining us, we had our mom and dad on for 2 weeks in a row, or mom
first,
and then dad.
And then dad.
I encourage you to listen to them. They're fun and good.
Got a lot of feedback on mom, huh?
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback on our mom, and in particular, just because they sent it out to all their friends. I don't think my dad, interestingly enough, wanted to send it out to all of his people, which is ironic since he was on TV for 34 years.
I know. Wait, he didn't send it out?
No, he did, but I don't think he made nearly the
mom.
big deal with mom kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I got.
He was proud of mom.
Yeah, he was really proud of mom. Yeah. Golly, he really wants my mom to be a third person in the podcast. He's like, you should have mom on all the time. She was great.
Speaking of a third person, we have Iggy here.
Yes, that's right. Hey, nice segue.
I know. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah. Hello, Iggy.
I was on mute. Hello.
Oh, man, you got to talk to the sound guy. Iggy's the sound guy. Thank you, Iggy. Iggy not only is our sound guy here, but he's the guy that makes it so that you can watch it on YouTube and listen to it on Spotify.
We literally show up and then he does everything else.
Yes, we do. We do this talking thing. We do help with rolling up cables.
Yeah, when we're done, I'm like, okay, where do I put this microphone?
Yes, exactly. And I do put up the lights.
Yeah,
there's two lights.
But you made me put up one light today.
I did because I forgot to get it done earlier.
Yeah.
So anywho, yay. Today, for those of you, I know this is not going to drop for probably until the Olympics are done.
Yeah, but probably right after they end.
Yeah, but we're recording this on
opening day.
On opening day. And you didn't watch anything? You don't know anything about it?
No, because Peter was working all day, so I'm waiting for him. We'll watch it later. We'll stream it.
Well, I just have to tell you that the LA hosts it in 4 years. Mm-hmm. And all I can say is, and I love LA. I'm thinking we're going to do a great job and everything, but I don't know how you top that. Do you, Iggy? I mean, Iggy watched it. Do you have any idea how we can ever top that?
Part of me wants to say that we should be able to, just because we live in LA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's part of me that's like, there's just no way.
It's LA.
Well, you know, this is not a secret, so I'm not going to blow anything, but they're coming in on the Seine, I don't know how you,
the river. Yeah.
And, what's so amazing is, when you watch the ceremonies, I get bored usually normally because they're just all you do.
It's so funny. No, it's just funny because Peter's always look forward to the opening day, and I kind of never really watch opening day. Mm-hmm. I just kind of wait till they start showing the actual
competitions.
And
the competitions.
Yeah.
But the opening day is often so boring because it's like you're just in a stadium, and then you're watching them walk in, and it's like, and it's the same thing over and over again, just different faces, right?
Yeah.
That's all you see.
Exactly.
There's a little bit of entertainment here and there going on. Somebody's doing something, but it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
do you imagine if it had in LA, they can build a river and have the river take
Well, that's what I heard. And not only are they going to build it, you didn't hear this?
Oh, you're for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's going to be 3 stories high.
Oh.
No, it's totally fake.
I'm like, what the hell? Your face was so serious. I'm like, okay, there is like...
No, they're not going to
No,
do
that's
that.
not a river. That's a lake. But
but anyway.
I worked in LA.
In 84?
When the Olympics were here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was chaos.
Yeah.
Like absolute chaos.
Well, it's going to be better now because there's far less cars.
Right. Far less people.
And far less people.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? All I can tell you is what is so cool about this one is because it has, yes, they do a portion where you're in the
stadium.
Their stadium, and they have like a fake stadium. They don't, because it's going to be torn down.
Right.
They know that pretty much immediately. But
I shouldn't say fake, maybe temporary.
That's the word they use, is temporary. But when they're going down the river, it is it's just so cool because you're seeing the entire city. And then at the same time that you're seeing the entire city, there's like these, what would you say, Iggy? There's
like performers,
entertainers. There's a fashion show going on.
Oh, wow.
A fashion show? Is that what they called it?
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
It's going on for hours.
Wow.
And the entertainment is like fun, and it's just I don't know. I was like I was watching it and I was like, this is cool.
Right.
This is something worth watching. And then it ends. I'm not even going to tell you this part because this part is kind of cool. But the way it ended, or I shouldn't say ended, the way the procession ended was kind of cool. Although it was long. I mean, it was cool for the first like 2 or 3 minutes. And then I thought, oh my God, is it ever going to end? Because I think it lasted like 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, think, I can't say it because she'll be bummed. So, the very last thing, with the flag, the very last thing with the flag, that just seemed to last a really, really, really long time.
The whole thing was like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I don't have that much time.
But what happens? Do you become a pumpkin?
I'm going to fast forward. I'm gonna speed it up.
Yeah, well, that's one thing you can't do. But there's this part when it first came out, it was like, oh, that is really cool looking. It was really cool.
I really am looking forward to seeing it, but I don't know if I'll sit through 4 hours of that. Although it's funny because Peter may have watched it while at work, because sometimes he can do things and have on like something on the side, depending on if he's on a call or whatever. But if he did, then that's good for me because I only have to watch part of it. Or
you could still watch it, but the one good thing about what you're saying is you get to fast forward it because we
I am
have
looking
that
forward to it. I've been looking. We've watched all the pre-things for the Olympics. We've watched all of the. So coming up to this, it's like very exciting. All the pre-qualifying events and everything. So
when you guys traveled, did you go to Paris?
No.
That's another thing that just was cool about it is Patty and I love Paris. I don't like to visit the same country. I like visiting new countries and doing new things. And so, but if I was told you have to go back to the same country, I go visit Paris again. Not to say that, I mean, I shouldn't have said that because actually I'd go to Ecuador because I love people in Ecuador and stuff, but it's not because it's like in terms of a visiting, like a touristy, like me being a tourist, I would go to, I'd go to Paris. Cool. Just really totally loved it. But, and they just show off the city. Yeah. It's like, it's really cool the way it looks. And it starts off in the day or with daylight, I should say. And then it ends with, in the evening and yeah, it's really fun. And then where the people, talk, where the main people, where all the NBC folk are, I can't remember the name of that square, but there's a square where they are at, and they built this whole thing on it. It's where Patty, I don't know if you remember, I did this video of Patty eating her very first crate. It's in that same place. I don't remember. But we literally lived, our little Airbnb was like 200 yards from that place. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so it's really kind of fun to see you and chill. Not that everybody didn't, know that place because it's super, super famous, but it was kind of fun that was my story of when, do you remember my story of going to Paris?
No.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Sure.
We came in at night, like midnight-ish, into the city. I don't remember what time we landed and all that, but we flew, we got in, we had to take a train. The Airbnb people told us how to get the train. It was like 45 minutes from the airport to this thing, and they told us what trains to do. Honestly, it wasn't that clear, and everything's in French, and we couldn't. And so somebody helped us out who spoke Spanish, and we were able to speak Spanish to them, and then they helped us out. And then you get from one train, then you get into their subway system. We got on the subway system, and then we get out, and we walk up the subway, and the very first thing we see on the right-hand side are these like cool French cafes. And we were starving, so we were like thinking, oh, perfect, we can eat here. They were closing up because it was by then after midnight. I think it might have been 1 o'clock in the morning, actually. And so we were a little bummed about that, but we came up, and then we're looking at our thing, and they don't have they don't have street signs that we understand. Yeah. At least I couldn't understand them. So we didn't understand where in the world to go. And so again, we start talking to this person in Spanish and ask him where to go and da-da-da. And then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, and we're supposed to be near the Eiffel Tower or something. And he tells us to turn around. We haven't turned around yet. And we turn around and there's the Eiffel Tower.
Are you kidding?
Right? Like not close to us.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a few hundred, but it was
yeah.
perfect. Nothing blocking. Literally, we could see right through where all those NBC people are right now. Right now they built a structure, so we probably couldn't see it if that thing was there. But you could just see right straight through, and it was cool. It was really cool. I wept. I actually started to cry. Of course, I cried. Everything.
I know.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, that's a place I'd like to go. We didn't get to go there when we cruised, but one day.
Yeah. We went there for just 1 week, and it was so worth it. Of course, we could have spent at least another week there, but we made the best of it. We walked everywhere, and I mean, occasionally we would take some kind of transportation because we were more interested in just like a matter of fact, when you see these things, these little boats that they're on, they're specific for the river, and they are like, I can't remember what they called, but they're like taxis. Like you can pay for them, and then they just keep rotating.
Right.
And so so we did that a couple times, but really not for because we needed to get somewhere. It was more like, we just want to be on the river and try this thing out and all that stuff. And it was way cheaper to just take that public transportation thing than it was to like, if we would have done some touristy boat thing, it wouldn't have been much different, and we would have paid a lot of money compared to, pennies.
Well,
anyway, wasn't that exciting?
Yeah.
See?
I'm excited to see the Olympics in general. I really am. I'm really excited because right after that, then CrossFit games are happening.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a different thing, but yes,
I know,
I get
but
what you're
I
saying.
really like watching those things, so
I know
it's fun.
I actually wish I could watch those, but I don't. I mean, I watch a lot of. I was going to say I watch a lot of TV. I'm not sure if that's true, but I watch the same thing over and over because I don't like to get into things.
Yeah.
And the only time I watch new stuff, almost always, is with Patty. And
oh my gosh, we just watched Suits. If you guys watch Suits, do you like Suits? Let me know. Suits just ended. And the season ended. Like the series ended. And I didn't realize the last season we just watched was going to be the series finale. And it just made me so sad. Do you watch Suits?
No.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you watch that one, Iggy?
No, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yes.
Is Suits the one with the Queen girl or whatever her name is?
She was.
Okay.
Yeah. She's not on it this last season though.
Okay.
But
was it planned to be the last season, or did they?
I don't know.
Or what I mean is, did it end like it was the last season, or did it end and you're kind of like they just stopped it?
No. I feel like they ended it well. I mean, if people watching it and haven't seen it, I'm not going to say anything. But they ended it like, because I looked at Peter and went, wait. He goes, that was it. I go, that was a season finale. He goes, that was a series finale. And I'm like, oh. And it makes sense. But I was sad because I thought maybe there was going to be like a little twist, But yeah.
No. Well,
anyway,
one day maybe. All I know is that I barely have time to watch the shows that we do watch.
yeah, even though you watch them over and over again. So
what I do is, the reason why is because like when I'm eating lunch, I'll turn on I'll turn on a show and then I'll watch it. But
don't you and Patty sit down at night and have like a show you guys like to watch?
Yeah, but that's the problem is the shows that we're already trying to watch, we still can't keep up on because it's like we barely keep up on them. We got through the one show that was funny. What's it called? Big Bang.
Yeah,
because
you guys were sick.
We were sick, and we killed like 17 seasons and during the sick time and then to be honest with you, I'm quite certain that I
fell asleep through
through quite a bit of them. But we just decided to really crank through it. And the thing about that show is like every episode is like 20 minutes. I mean, they're so fast. They're really, really short compared to when you watch. We're right now starting to watch Game of Dragons or Dragons of Denmark. I don't know what it's called.
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. That's it. So we're starting to watch that, and it went like on sabbatical because of the writer's strike and all that stuff for 100 years. So now we actually decided to watch the original because we started watching the new season, which it's only season 2, and we didn't know what was going on because it had been so long. So we're rewatching season 1 so that we could understand season 2. And so Isn't that exciting?
It is. All right, so let's chat.
That didn't sound like excitement.
No, because I don't like House of Dragons.
Oh,
I only like
you don't
to
like
talk
anything
about...
that's fake, do you?
Not really.
That's really scad.
Not that Big Bang Theory is real.
Yeah,
but...
not that Suits is real.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I read the book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and nobody can believe that I like that book because it's about...
Me neither.
It's, yeah.
I don't know what that book is.
Oh, well, it has fairies in it, and it just isn't something...
Fairies?
Yeah.
I think they like to be called homosexuals.
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh my God, that was a dumb joke.
No. Oh no, I don't like. I don't read novels. I don't read novels, so I only read nonfiction. Isn't that weird?
I used to be that way. That's all I loved. All I loved. This is like the first time I've gotten into a book like this, because I always read autobiographies or nonfiction or whatever, but I decided to give this a try, and I really liked it. And now I'm in the second book. I'm almost done.
So, but TV wise, you don't watch.
I don't watch any of that.
I know, because you didn't even like the one about the people that lived in the big house in England, and then they had the other people.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not good on period pieces or things with dragons and stuff. Like, just not. Yeah. Anyway.
You might as well not watch TV.
But give me an episode of what?
You haven't lived.
I Love Lucy or Friends or Big Bang Theory, then I'm all about it. Yeah. Or Suits, where there's really two good-looking men. Then I'll watch it.
Just like our podcast, me and Iggy. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
All right, let's digress.
Yeah, let's move on to the subject. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've been talking a while.
A long time.
So you get to begin.
Oh, yay. Okay, so as Benny mentioned, we kind of talked about it beforehand. It's not there's no reason why. But I really wanted to talk about, I just posted an Instagram story, a reel, about how, because of the times we're in an election year. The last few months have been a little chaotic in terms of what's going on in Congress and everything. We all, if you know, you know. And as the months get closer to November, it's going to get even more thick, if you will. And I've noticed on my Instagram feed, I'm getting people sharing things that are just really heavy, whether it's which way they lean, whether left or right, it doesn't matter. For me, a lot of it makes me have an unsettled feeling.
Yeah. Just
because it's a little too deep. And it's, you know, and the thing is I'm so okay with people voicing their opinion about why they might like this side or this politician or this whatever. I am so okay with that. What I don't like is when you have to put down the other person to make yourself look better. And I don't like seeing the posts of bashing the other side in order to make yourself look bigger or better, and vice versa. It just keeps happening.
Right.
And so my reel basically was, you can scroll. You don't have to stop and read. You don't have to look at the comments. That's my thing too, is I start looking at the comments, and then you see people fighting on there, and you see this like animosity and right. aggression and what have you. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is unsettling. And it just reminded me, because even back in 2020, when the pandemic was happening, I unfollowed a few accounts. I blocked a few accounts, not blocked. I muted a couple accounts right. for a short time being. And then obviously people stopped talking about that because it's, you know, wasn't quite the topic anymore. So anyway, that was my whole thing of, you know, if you're on social media and things are making you feel uneasy, you don't really like how you're feeling after you're looking through it, to just mute the person, unfollow the person, or whatever it is. You don't have to stop and read it. Yeah. And it just goes to the whole thing we've always talked about living your best life, keeping a positive attitude, having, you know, just... If it's bringing you down, if it's not serving you, then stop it.
Yeah. I think something that happens, I'm not quite sure where this comes out. You know, I think, first of all, social media has done something in our culture that wasn't possible before, which is you could yell at somebody and be anonymous.
Absolutely.
So people, there are things that people say now on social media that they would never walk up to someone and say.
Even now, today, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like in the past, nobody would talk about it.
No.
But I mean, even today, is somebody going to say that to your face?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
They would find a different way of saying it. But, and then probably they would just avoid those people who they don't necessarily. And I, when I say avoid, I just mean the truth is water rises to the same level. So if you believe this, then you're likely to find people who believe that. And I'm not saying that's the best way to live, but it's a reality. It's just what happens in life. People, it's just, an old camp thing we used to always say when I'd have, 100 kids go to a camp. And then you have 100 kids from another church and 100 from another church, and there's 300 kids. It's fascinating how 300 kids who didn't know each other beforehand, all of like the skaters will find each other, all of the kids that ditch school, all the kids that like to smoke pot, all the kids that they all find each other. And it doesn't take very long, but they just find each other. And that's typically the way the circles are, and that's typically what happens. And I'm not necessarily saying that's the best thing for us to be able to have a rational, strong debate regarding a lot of the things that are going on in our country. But social media is so bizarre because people will talk to somebody or say something to somebody who they never would ever engage. And then not only that, they'll say something kind of nasty.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you saw that same person wearing a shirt at a grocery store, you probably just walk the other way. You wouldn't walk up there and go,
yeah.
You just wouldn't do that.
Exactly.
Or you might get a video of you being called Karen. So so it would be one or the other. But it's like you don't necessarily find that. So I think social media, that's one thing that's happening. Is just social media makes it very easy to be
and that's
anonymous.
the thing. I think that the sad thing is I think that so many, and we talked about this before, I'm sure, on the podcast, so many young kids, that's all they know. Like where you get your information shouldn't necessarily be on social media, because it's so easy. Like if I have pulled up a few sources back in the pandemic of what somebody posted on social media, and then I've went and did my own research on that very source, and they only posted the verbiage of a small section of what was said.
Yeah.
And so it's taken out of context.
Right.
And so that's what happens a lot of times. And you even see a lot of times somebody's posting right now and they'll say something about, one president candidate or the other. And then people will say, well, post the source, post the source, post the source. And then like, there was no source. I found this, and it's like, okay, that's what the dangers are of social media, because you're only finding what somebody's posting.
Yeah. You're not researching it necessarily for yourself. Well, and then like we already said, the other, you mentioned something that I really kind of like this comment is, I just saw something literally right before I came on. A guy from high school posted something about one of the candidates and basically said, this is what they've done and then the list, you're not sure what the list is going to be, but it turned out to be everything, quote unquote, negative that they've done. And I just sat there and thought, why? I don't even understand why. Because number one, again, all of those negative things are taken out of context. And then the second, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying you're not giving the whole picture.
Exactly.
And then number two is, why don't you just talk about who you want?
Exactly.
And what you're hoping they're going to bring.
Exactly.
Rather than it's like, okay, let's throw this person in the mud. It's like, that's not the thing. That's not what we should be doing.
I think in general, like, if we're not even talking about an election, if you have to put someone else down to make yourself look better, it's just very icky to me.
Well, unfortunately the candidates do it. And and that's the thing. I mean, they don't just talk about what they want to accomplish. They talk about, and then I even, I remember Brene Brown, I'm a fan. And I remember reading it or in a podcast, I don't remember, that she was talking about how, and it's interesting because she was talking about how they did this in certain parts of Africa with certain genocides. They did this with the Jewish people in Germany. But what they do is they start to speak about the person as if they're not human.
Yeah.
They start to speak about them as though they are less than human. And by doing that, now all of a sudden, whether people go, no, I don't think of him that way. And yet, when you keep hearing it, you do start to think of that person in a way that's not human.
Sure.
They're not real anymore. Yeah. It's like they're that thing or whatever it is.
Right.
And it was interesting because she was saying once we start doing that to people, once we start to, it's beyond calling them names. You're dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, that's a problem. I saw something, which of course this is going to be a good thing on Barack Obama at one time, but I remember they show this where he's doing a speech and a guy starts protesting. And he was clearly a right-wing person and started protesting. You couldn't hear what he was saying. But everybody starts booing him and yelling at him. And one thing Barack Obama says, no. We believe in free speech. That man is wearing something that indicates, I don't know, but he indicates that he's a veteran of war. So thank him for his service. And then he said one other thing. Which was, I can't remember he's elderly, so we should be respecting our elder. But the point that he was making is that why are you trying to if this is what we applaud, if we as in the Democrats, liberals applaud free speech, then why are you booing a guy who's saying who's got free speech?
Sure.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting because that is, to me, a mindset that I think would be helpful for people is that it's like, in the end, I think everybody, and this is where I get fussy. In the end, I think both sides are trying to do what they think is best for America.
Yeah.
And if you, whether or not you agree but I just hate when it's like they're talking about it like these people hate America, like they're purposely doing this against America. It's like, no, you just disagree on how to achieve the same thing.
Right.
So, I told you that I had a little thing that I was going to add, right? So I'm hoping that this quote is not going to be too hard to translate in a podcast. Are you okay?
Are you going to say it in a different language or something?
No, it's just long. So,
okay.
And this is from that book that I read a while ago, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Oh, yeah. You told us about that.
Yeah, I told her. I think I read it. I'm not sure if I read the same quote or not, but I don't think so. Okay. So tell me if you agree with it. Iggy, I'm gonna ask you if you agree with it too, so you gotta pay attention. Okay, there's gonna be a test. You are never dedicated to something you have complete confidence in. No one is fanatically shouting that the sun is going to rise tomorrow. They know it's going to rise tomorrow. When people are fanatically dedicated to political or religious faiths or any other kind of dogmas or goals, it's always because these dogmas or goals are in doubt.
You did read that before.
I did read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I love it.
What's interesting to me is, I'm not sure that it's 100% true across the board, but I do think it's true for a lot of people. It's like they're convincing themselves when they're yelling and screaming and so on. It's not even like they totally believe in what they're saying, but it's like, if I don't defend this, then I'm lowering my own, my position. It's like I might be vulnerable.
Right.
So instead of being vulnerable, I'm going to go out there.
Right.
I'm going to go nuts.
That's funny that you said that, because it kind of relates to a little bit of, I've always thought that I had like a quiet spirit. I'm not the kind of person that walks around telling everybody that I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. You know what? I just hope that somebody might look at me and just go, what does she have that I don't have? Like, I'm not like very vocal about it. But somebody told me that you might be the only person, there might be somebody in the room that has never even heard of Jesus or whatever. I can't remember how they phrased it. So you not saying anything could be detrimental. You should be speaking up. You should be, you should almost want to shout it from the rooftop. And so hearing that quote is interesting because part of me is like, no, I don't want to be the person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw you smile right now. But do you know what I'm saying?
Well, my favorite phrase that I use in our church all the time is from St. Francis of Assisi. And he said, preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, say words. And I
like that. If necessary, say words. That's
yeah. The truth of the matter is that, so we're getting into a little faith discussion. I'm looking at the time. But the thing that happens with faith is, especially, I know the Christian faith, right? So better than I know other faiths. But what I would say is, for a lot of people, Christian faith is about raising their hand. Like, okay, you have to accept Jesus as personal Lord and Savior into your heart, which is not biblical, by the way. So, I mean, it's just nowhere says that. It nowhere says that you have to accept him. It talks about following him. It talks about being dedicated to him. It talks about, but all Jesus ever did was say, follow me. He never said, and then he also, they do talk about preaching the gospel and spreading the gospel and doing that. But the idea wasn't, hey, I want to sell you this doctrine so that the idea was, I want you to, I'm going to use our phrase, wholeheartedly live. And I believe the best way for that to take place is for you to be transformed by a living God. And so here it is. And the idea is, hey, if you follow this guy, everything you've been looking for, you're golden.
Right.
He wasn't going around to say, all of you other people suck.
Right.
That was like not his goal.
Right.
That wasn't like his thing. So the idea really should be, by virtue of what I see in you, by virtue of how there's a great verse, right? Of the fruit of the Spirit. It talks about the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. I'm always fascinated when I hear a sermon on, so I'm going to today talk about patience, because that's one of the fruits. This is my whole point though. It's not one of the fruit. He doesn't say these are the fruits. Love is one of them and joy is one of them. He says there's one fruit. And that one fruit tastes like this. Love, joy, peace, patience.
Right.
How do you get it?
Right.
You don't get it by trying to be patient. You don't get it by trying to be loving. You don't get it by trying to do any of that. You get it
by climbing the tree and picking a piece of fruit.
Well, they talk about it very specifically, saying that you get it by being a part of the vine. And being part of the vine means I'm going to follow that guy and his way of living and what he does. And then when I do that, a byproduct of that is going to be fruit. The apple does not say, okay, I need to be an apple. I need to be an apple. I need to be an apple. All the apple does is go, okay, water me. And then I become an apple. And most people see the fruit as a goal to be attained, when really what the story was about was, if you are living the way you're intended to live wholeheartedly, this is what people will see. If they don't see that, then there's a problem with the root, with the vine. It's not because you're not trying hard enough to be that. It's because you're am I making sense?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah. I get it.
So
I don't know if everybody else gets it, but at least I get it.
No, well, text me or send us a direct message. I guess why I'm bringing it up, though, is because in terms of this whole message that you're talking about, social media, you're talking about all these different things. What happens is people become fanatical about trying to teach a certain kind of way, and this is what you have to do, and so on and so forth. And for me, it's really way more about who you are inside.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%.
I'm not a big fan. I've always said that I've been a practical theologian, and what that means is I only care about what you know of the Bible in regards to how it makes you a better neighbor, a better husband, a better person. That's what I care about. Yeah. If it doesn't help you do that, then really what you believe is irrelevant to me. And that's the point to me of, like, when we say preach the gospel at all times, if necessary, say words. If you can't love people that are around you, if you can't love the homeless, if you can't, whether or not you're political or not, these immigrants are coming in here because they're hurting. Large percent of them are in a bad way. And yet many times people will look at them and go, what are you doing here? And I'm like thinking, oh, is that Is that preaching the gospel at all times? Is that? I'm not making a political statement about whether we should close our borders, but we start to demonize the very people that are coming through as if they have anything to do with it.
Right.
They're not part of our political agenda.
Right.
They just think that this is a better place to live. So for us to scold them seems weird to me. You can scold the people that have the power to stop things.
Right.
But when you start scolding the people.
Well, no, absolutely. You're killing the messenger, and it's not.
Yeah. So for me,
But no, I get that. I totally get that, because it is a shame. But again, to sum all this up, I think that you're absolutely right. I feel like if you want to live a wholehearted life, if you really honestly want to live your best life, you really do have to pick and choose what you let in.
Yeah.
It's very hard to let in negative stuff, whether it's negative stuff about the election, political stuff, or anything else. I know people, I know we talked about this real quick. I know we touched on this before with social media, that people feel so badly about themselves. They shame their own selves. They shame their body. They shame because they're watching people that look, quote unquote, better than them, or they're more fit than them, or what have you. And so if that's not serving you, then stop following that person. Yeah. If that person is helping you maybe feel motivated to get to the gym, or maybe eat healthier, or whatever, then fine. Take their tips, take their tricks, whatever it is. But if it's making you feel badly and it's stopping you from existing a wholehearted life, then stop following them.
Well, and ironically, so many of those people don't look like that all the time.
Oh no,
they look like that in their Instagram photo.
Yeah.
So
one time I remember back in the day, for Coco's Family Kitchen, somebody said that it's a long story, but anyway, I posted a picture of myself in a bathing suit, in a mirror, like it was kind of like a selfie mirror thing. And it was a 2-piece. And I was talking about how I don't feel comfortable wearing a 2-piece because of my stretch marks. I had somebody comment on there about, they unfollowed me because they said they were, a couple 100 pounds. I don't remember exactly what they said, but they were very overweight, and they were overweight for themselves. And that for me to post a picture of myself and not be proud of what I look like, and I was shaming myself that she was going to unfollow me because that's not who she wants to follow. Well, she has every right to unfollow me. My point wasn't saying...
You weren't shaming yourself.
No,
you were just being authentic. It's not easy to...
And that was very hard for me to post in the first place. No, right. I've never shared what my stomach looks like to mass people. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to keep covering. I'm going to talk about how I'm laying out in the backyard. I'm going to wear a 2-piece on my stomach. And I made a comment on how I don't wear this publicly because of my stretch marks. But it was so funny because she just blasted me because
Ironically, she probably, without knowing it, you guys are on the same page. You're 100% on the same page, but the way she interpreted it, and this is probably another podcast, right? How we interpret things, not just on the internet. I'm talking about with our husbands and wives,
sure,
and whoever.
Absolutely.
We translate things into something else, right? That aren't necessarily there.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because another thing, you know that I'm in a 12-step program, and one of the things that we talk about a lot one of the things that really helped me was, I might have mentioned this months ago on our podcast, by the way, this is like our 55th. Is that right? We're over a year old.
Mm-hmm. This one is 56.
56. So, what I mentioned was there was this whole article about not needing to know.
Mm-hmm.
I had this hypersensitivity to needing to know everything, and I click something would make a noise. I want to go look at it, and I thought I was like James Borney, like I just knew everything that was going on, and it was such a great thing because I was just so aware,
Right.
And what I realized is that awareness. This thing created a mantra that said, I don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And simply by saying I don't need to know to a lot of different things changed my life, radically changed my life. Because all of a sudden, my mind wasn't bouncing around and moving, and social media that's what it does. It's like, I need to know, I can't miss out.
Right.
What is this person saying?
Right.
What's that thing saying? What's going on? And you don't need to know.
Right.
I mean, unless it's your job,
right,
that you're supposed to monitor social media for political posts, you don't need to know.
Right.
And my daughter does this on a regular basis. Matter of fact, I don't know if she's even on it right now, but she will fast. I don't know if that's the right word, from social media for long periods of time. And it's funny because we'll talk to her about it and she's like, yeah, I don't miss it. I have yet to meet somebody, honestly, that's ever stopped doing social media that said, I miss it.
Dustin stopped it. He's not on social media anymore, or Instagram. Well, he's not on either. And I said, oh, wow, I tried to tag you and you weren't there. And he said, oh gosh, I stopped. He goes, I just found myself scrolling too much. And he goes, it's honestly just consumed too much time. And I thought, you know what? You're so right.
Yeah.
Like, it can be very time sucking. And if it's feeding you stuff that you really honestly don't feel good about seeing, it's
worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if because it's so funny that you said that. We're getting off subject, but I think it is interesting because I will say, okay, I got a little break here. I just need to chill out and I'm going to look at a few things. And then the next thing I look at the clock, it's 20 minutes has gone by or half hour has gone by. And I'm like, how did that happen? 30 minutes? I thought I was going to do this for 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's like 30 minutes just went by. So he is actually totally right. It's really a time sucker. Yeah. Unfortunately, if it wasn't for the fact that I like to do some of that stuff for coaching and stuff, then it would be so easy just to go,
I found myself, I recently started scrolling a little bit more, but I'm going to stop because like I just said, I don't really like a lot of the stuff I'm seeing, but I do like click on people that I know I love what they say. It's just, they're very, very optimistic. They're sharing life stuff. They're sharing, strategies in the gym. They're showing, those are the people that I like to follow.
I like
a lot of times
humor
I just go,
too. I like following humor.
But a lot of times I'll just go on and post and then I don't scroll. So, I mean, there's that too, because you could still share stuff and then not scroll,
Yeah.
But I do like to, like, oh, Patty posted a story. Let me see what she said. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So.
Well, and then on a side note, for those of you that aren't aware, I'm sure a lot of people are, if not everybody, but the more you scroll on those particular...
If you stop and look at something.
If you stop and look at something that has those kind of posts that we've been talking about that trigger you and actually take you away from wholehearted living, if you do that, the little algorithms know that, and they just feed you more of it. They just keep giving you more. So the more you mute, the more you stop watching, the more likely you're not going to get fed those things.
It was funny. I was looking for a post the other day and I was like scrolling and then somebody goes, who are all these people you're following? And because they're just like a lot of text. And I go, oh, there's like I follow a lot of motivational things and stuff. And it was basically a lot of that,
Yeah.
But
I really like what you said. I like comedians. I like the workout ones and I like just the uplifting ones. Like there's the ones like ours. Yeah. Yep. That like what we do.
Yes.
Well,
for what that was worth, I just thought I would share that because I honestly I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw this one particular post and the comments were just it made me so sad because I just saw people going after each other. And part of me wanted to get on there and like start commenting back, like, you don't have to read these, you don't have to stay here, you don't have to follow this account. You know what I mean? Like,
and then the next thing you know, you're going to be involved in the conversation.
Exactly. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I just basically muted that whole account for a while, but no, it did. It gave me a very unsettled feeling and I don't want to feel like that. And I know there's more to come. So if you're like me and want to feel good and not really want to get into all those nitty gritty things, obviously you have to, where we're talking politically, obviously you're going to have to do your own research on who you want to vote for or what have you. But social media really isn't the place because it's not, it is taken out of context a lot and it's showing you what they want you to see only. And sometimes it's misconstrued. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. Like from a wholehearted living standpoint, I am going to encourage all of our listeners, viewers to be involved and vote, but research it by other means because all you're doing is scrolling. You're going to get the same information over and over and over again, and it won't necessarily be accurate on either side.
Sure.
So the best thing to do is, look up your particular candidates, look up what you're researching, and then from a wholehearted living standpoint, I've yet to meet somebody that was convinced by something they read on social media that that they're going to change their perspective.
Right.
I haven't met anybody.
Right.
All it does is entrench them more into who they already were.
Exactly.
Because they're angry and frustrated.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't bring us to wholehearted living. So,
exactly.
All right. Well, for a subject matter that we didn't know how it was going to go, we are talking longer than we normally do.
No. Okay, goodbye.
So we're glad you're listening. Hopefully you're going to actually do some action steps. We are at wholehearted_living_podcast on Instagram and would love for you to follow us and send us a DM on any topics you might have, or even a comment about this particular one. That would be great.
Would be great. All right. Well, thank you guys. We will see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.